The sound of my heels echoed through the building lobby, as empty as that night itself. I'm Nora Whitman, 32, a senior PR director. Today is my birthday, a day that should have meant at least one phone call. But there was nothing, no messages, no wishes, not a single sign that my family even remembered I existed. I opened the door to my apartment and set my bag down. The small cake I bought that morning was still there with one candle left unlit. Happy birthday to me, I whispered as if speaking to an empty room. Trying to shake off the feeling, I picked up my phone, and that's when I saw it. A Facebook post. My brother Dominic, raising a glass of champagne, standing in the middle of the family. Behind him was a banner, "Congratulations on your promotion." My parents stood on either side, smiling brightly. The whole family gathered together. Everyone, except me. I checked the time it was posted, 4 hours ago. On my birthday. It wasn't that they forgot. They chose not to remember. If you want to know what happens next, comment 1 to hear the rest of the story. This wasn't the first time my birthday had been forgotten. In fact, it had never really been remembered. I still remember when I was 11. Sitting alone in a restaurant, in front of a cake with a single candle slowly melting. My parents said they'd just step out for a bit to watch Dominic's debate competition. They'll be back in time, they said. They didn't come back. I blew out the candle by myself. When I was 17, right on my birthday weekend, they sent me to my grandmother's house because they needed to take Dominic on a tour of Yale. That's his future, my dad said. And me? No one asked what I wanted. The day I graduated college, summa cum laude, was supposed to be my day. But at dinner that night, Dominic announced his engagement. Within minutes, the conversation shifted from my achievements to wedding dresses, venues, and guest lists. No one turned back to ask how I felt. Last month, I helped my company increase client revenue by 41%. I told my dad. He just glanced at his watch and said, "It's just advertising, not like Dominic's finance job." That's when I understood. The problem wasn't that I wasn't good enough. It was that, in their eyes, I had never mattered. I wasn't the one they were proud of. I was the one standing in the shadows, so Dominic could shine. The irony is, I'm not a failure. I have a career most people would dream of. That same day, on the night my birthday was forgotten, I received an email, an $85,000 bonus, a number I had never seen before in my life. But instead of sharing that joy with my family, I got a call from my mother. Not to congratulate me, but to ask me to organize a celebration party for Dominic, as if I existed, only to serve his success. I stared at the number on my screen, then looked around the empty room, and for the first time, a thought crossed my mind. Maybe I don't need them anymore. If you've ever achieved something big but your family didn't acknowledge it, comment 1 so I know you've truly made it. 4 days later, I was sitting in my office when I got a strange notification. A family group chat. The name? Family Planning. And the thing is, I wasn't even in it. I'd been added by mistake. At first, I was about to leave right away, but then, one message made me stop. Nora should contribute at least $30,000 to Dominic's celebration, my dad wrote. I froze. $30,000? That was a huge portion of my bonus. Before I could even process what was happening, my mom replied, "She just got her bonus. It's time she supports the family." Supports the family? I scrolled down. Message after message appeared. No one asked if I wanted to. No one cared what I needed. They were just discussing how to use my money, as if it were a given. Then I noticed a small detail, but it hurt more than anything else. My name was spelled wrong in the chat. Nor, missing the A. My own mother had written it. I stared at the screen. In that moment, everything became painfully clear. It wasn't that they forgot my birthday. It wasn't that they accidentally overlooked me. They knew exactly who I was. They just never really cared. I leaned back in my chair, staring out the window as the city kept moving without pause. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel sad anymore. There was only one question left. Do I have any reason to stay in this family anymore? The irony is, the place where I felt most valued wasn't my family. At work, everything was completely different. My boss walked into the room, set a file down on the table and said, "Nora, your campaign just helped the client increase revenue by 43%. The board is very impressed." He looked straight at me. "You've earned every dollar of that bonus." It wasn't small talk. It wasn't obligation. It was real recognition. Olivia, my closest coworker, took one look at my expression and knew something was wrong. "Forget them," she said bluntly. "They don't deserve your effort." No sugarcoating, no pretending, just someone standing on my side. That night, I stopped by Mrs. Morgan's apartment, my 84-year-old neighbor. We sat at her small kitchen table, eating cookies she had just baked. I told her everything. She gently placed her hand over mine and said, "Some people don't see your worth because they never truly wanted to look." That sentence stayed with me for a long time. For the first time, I realized something simple but important. There are people who don't share your blood, but treat you like real family. On Saturday night, I walked into my family's mansion, a place where everything was always perfect, except the way they treated me. The dining table was set elegantly. My father sat at the head as usual. My mother smiled, while Dominic and his wife looked like the perfect couple straight out of a magazine. Everything followed the familiar script. My father talked about Dominic's success. My mother added details to make the story even more impressive. And me? I stayed quiet, gently pushing food around on my plate, until dessert was served. "Nora," my father set his coffee cup down, his tone firm. "We need to talk about your contribution to Dominic's celebration." I looked up. $20,000 would be appropriate, he continued. "You're the only one who's recently come into a large sum of money." My mother nodded. "Family supports each other." Family. Those two words made me pause. I took a deep breath. "I can't." The air in the room instantly froze. My father frowned. "What did you say?" "I can't give $30,000. My voice was clearer this time. It was the first time in 32 years that I had said no to my family, and I knew nothing would ever be the same after this. The entire room fell silent. Not the normal kind of silence, but the kind that comes when no one can believe I just said no. My father slammed his coffee cup down. "Say that again." I looked him straight in the eye. "I'm not giving $30,000. My mother sighed, her voice softening, the familiar tone she used whenever she wanted to make me feel guilty. "Nora, after everything we've done for you." I paused. A question slipped out before I could stop it. "What exactly have you done for me?" The air turned ice cold. My father shot to his feet. "You're being ungrateful. Dominic is the one who brings real value to this family. You should feel lucky you even get the chance to support him." Every word sounded like something I'd heard for years. But this time, I didn't stay silent. I stood up. My hands trembled slightly, but my voice didn't. "I'm not the family's bank." No one said a word. I picked up my bag and turned toward the door. Behind me, my mother called out, "Nora, don't make this a big deal." But I didn't stop. For the first time in my life, I didn't choose to stay to keep the peace. I chose to walk away. To keep myself. If you relate to Nora, leave a 2 in the comments. I thought things would settle down after that night, but they didn't. The next morning my mom called, 7:15 a.m., right on schedule. "Nora, what are you doing? This is just a rebellious phase, right?" I looked at myself in the mirror, mascara in hand, and for the first time I didn't feel guilty. "I'm not being rebellious, I'm just saying no." She went quiet for a few seconds, then her tone shifted. "You're hurting your parents." I didn't respond. That afternoon, things went further than I expected. My father showed up at my office, dressed in a sharp suit, speaking loud enough for people around us to hear. "You should behave more professionally." I pulled him into a private meeting room, my heart pounding. "What do you want?" $30,000. That's your responsibility. Not a request, an order. My phone kept vibrating. Dominic was calling. "Family helps each other, Nora. I need you to connect me with this client." Again. No asking if I was okay, no concern for what I thought, just demands. Constant, relentless pressure, from every direction. I stood there in the very place where I was valued, and realized something more clearly than ever. My family didn't see me as their daughter. They saw me as a resource. 3 weeks after my birthday, I was sitting alone in a cafe. My laptop was open in front of me, but I wasn't working. At the table next to me, a girl was being celebrated by her friends. They laughed, gave her gifts, sang happy birthday. It looked so natural, so warm. I watched them and realized something painful. I've never had that. Not this year. Not last year. But never. No surprise parties. No hugs, no one genuinely happy that I existed. I was always the one on the outside, the one who came after, the one who was overlooked. I looked down at the small cake in front of me, this time not mine, but someone else's. And for the first time, I didn't feel jealous. I just felt clarity. Clarity that no matter how hard I tried, no matter how successful I became, I would never be the one they chose first. Not because I wasn't good enough, but because I was never their choice. I closed my laptop, and a thought formed, clearer and more final than ever. Maybe it's time to stop trying to be loved in a place that never had love for me. The next morning I woke up with a very different feeling. No heaviness, no waiting for a message that would never come, just clarity. I opened my laptop, not to work, but to search. Lake House, Michigan. Dozens of results appeared. I clicked on one lakeside house, large glass windows, wooden floors, sunlight pouring in. Not overly luxurious, but peaceful enough. A place without comparisons, without judgmental looks. Just me. 2 days later, I was standing on the wooden balcony of that house. A soft breeze, the lake shimmering under the sunlight. The agent was saying something about price, paperwork, but I barely heard a word, because in my mind there was only one question. What is this feeling? Quiet. Freedom. For the first time, I didn't need anyone's permission to decide my own life. I'll take it, I said. The agent looked surprised. Wouldn't you like to think about it a bit more? I shook my head. No. And for the first time in my life, my decision had nothing to do with my family. Not to prove anything, not to be recognized, just simply, I chose myself. In the weeks that followed, I spent all my free time at the lake house. Every room, every little corner, was arranged by my own hands. No one gave opinions, no one judged, just me and my own choices. I hung my awards and photos on the walls, things I was proud of, things my family had never cared about. The master bedroom became my favorite place. A reading chair by the window overlooking the lake, morning light pouring in. I put a small sign on the door, birthday suite. A simple reminder that I deserved to be celebrated. I started making a guest list for the housewarming party. Jennifer, co-workers, Mrs. Bennett, the people who had truly been there for me. I paused when I reached my family contacts. An old habit pulled at me. Should I invite them? But this time, I didn't hesitate for long. I closed the list. Not out of anger, but because I understood something clearly. Family isn't made of people who make you fight to be recognized. Family is made of people who truly stand by you. And for the first time, I was building that for myself. I posted a photo of the lake house on a Sunday afternoon, just me standing on the balcony, the calm water behind me, with a simple caption, birthday gift for myself. 20 minutes later, my phone exploded. 17 missed calls, over 30 messages, most of them from my mom. Where did you get the money to buy a house? Why didn't you ask the family first? Do you know what people are saying? Not, are you okay? Are you happy? Just how they looked in other people's eyes. The next day she left a voicemail. You're making the family look bad. People are asking why you had to buy your own birthday gift, like no one cares about you. I listened to it and laughed. For the first time, the story in my head wasn't distorted anymore. They didn't care whether I was sad or happy. They only cared about their image. They even started spreading rumors that I was unstable, that I was jealous of Dominic, that I had issues. I put my phone down, looked out at the lake, and realized something with absolute clarity. When you start to change, the people who used to control you will call it a mistake. If you feel characters like Nora's mom and Dominic are truly cruel, leave it in the comments so I know you see it too. A week later, I returned to the old house, not as a daughter, but as someone carrying the truth. In my hands were 3 photo albums. My father opened the door, no greeting. My mother was already seated, tissues in hand. Dominic stood behind her, silent. I didn't waste time. I placed the first album on the table. Open it. Photos filled the pages. Dominic through the years. Birthdays, gifts, parties, the whole family gathered around him. I slid the second album toward them. And this one is mine. My mother opened it, then froze. The pages were almost empty, just a few scattered photos. A small cake, a forced smile, no family, no one standing beside me. I didn't need to say much. I flipped open the third album. Family trips, Disney, Europe, luxury vacations. I wasn't in a single photo. Because I wasn't invited, I said quietly. No one argued, no one explained. Just silence. And for the first time, that silence didn't belong to me anymore. The room was so quiet, I could hear my own heartbeat. My father was the first to break it. What do you want from us? Not an apology, not regret, just irritation at being confronted with the truth. I looked at him, then at my mother, then at Dominic. I don't want anything. My voice was so calm it surprised even me. I waited 32 years for you to see me. I paused for a second. I don't need that anymore. My mother started crying, but this time, I didn't feel guilty. My father turned away, avoiding my eyes. Dominic stayed silent, as if for the first time he didn't know what to say. I closed the albums. I didn't take them with me, because I didn't need proof anymore. They had seen it. I stood up, no yelling, no arguing, just an ending. I don't need your recognition, I said, my voice steady. I just need my life. I turned and walked toward the door. No one stopped me, no one apologized. But this time, it didn't matter anymore. The door closed behind me, and for the first time in my life, I wasn't walking away with a sense of loss, but with relief. A year later, I stood on the balcony of my lake house. The morning sunlight reflected off the water, calm, just like me now. My 33rd birthday. But this time, it wasn't an empty room. Laughter filled the space behind me. Jennifer was getting the cake ready. Co-workers, friends, the people who truly care were here. No one came out of obligation. They came because they wanted to. My phone kept buzzing, not pressure-filled calls, but birthday wishes. One message stood out from my boss. Congratulations, Senior Director. I smiled. A year ago I thought I was missing something, a family, recognition. But now I understand, I wasn't missing anything. I was just placing myself in the wrong place. Inside this house, I've filled the walls with things I'm proud of. Achievements. Real moments. No one overshadows me anymore. No one decides my worth. I raised my glass, looking out over the lake. Not to prove anything, just simply, I'm living the life I chose. If there's one thing I wish I had understood sooner, it's this. Not everyone who carries the title of family knows how to love you. I spent 32 years trying to be good enough, smart enough, quiet enough, all for something so simple, recognition. But the truth is, you can't force someone to see your worth when they never wanted to look in the first place. I used to think enduring everything was strength, that if I just tried a little harder, they would change. But no, endurance isn't strength, it's a trade, paid with your self-respect. Real strength is when you dare to walk away, dare to say no, dare to choose yourself, even when no one supports you. Boundaries aren't selfish, they're how you protect yourself. You might lose some relationships, but what you gain in return is peace. And sometimes that's the most valuable thing of all. I'm no longer waiting for them to change. I choose to build my life with people who truly see me. If you're in a situation like mine, remember this. You don't have to prove your worth to people who have already decided not to recognize it. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away.